So what even are scales and arpeggios? Even if you've never had a formal music class or lesson in your life, you've probably heard these words. And you probably kind of know that they're the building blocks of music and a lot of people practice them, but what are they? Most simply put, scales and arpeggios are patterns. They're the most common patterns we find in music, and we study them separately from all the beautiful music that we learn because it leads directly to having more fun. If you recognize your patterns, you learn things more quickly, and that leads to having fun. And by the way, nobody wrote these scales and arpeggios down as like rules for composers to follow over the centuries. Composers write the music they want to write. Musicians play and improvisers improvise the music that they want to hear. And then later on, they or their students or future generations of musicians notice the patterns in it. And that's kind of ultimately how we ended up with scales and arpeggios that we have today. This is video 1 of 2. I'm going to deal only with scales today. When I'm sitting at the keyboard, I generally use the white keys as the first scale I talk about. There are 12 different notes total in most Western music, and 12 different notes total on the piano keyboard. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, and B. And then after that, the pattern just starts over with C. They're the same notes. So there's only 12 different ones. And a major scale uses some combination of those, some 7-note combination of those. There is a specific pattern, and it does have to be certain intervals. I'm not going to get into that today. I just want to point out the fact that C, D, E, F, G, A, B is a C major scale. That's a pattern we see a lot. If you see music that's written in C major or music that uses entirely or primarily that subset of notes, the white key subset of notes, it's almost certainly in the key of C major. And recognizing that means that when you see someone play another piece in C major, or you see a piece of sheet music written in C major somewhere else, you're more likely to notice that that's what it is, and that's a thing, and you can learn it faster because you know that it's a thing. So this, really, we use these because in music, these patterns get written into the music all the time. So, for example, Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor, which you've probably heard because in this part of the world it was just Halloween. That whole thing is just the majority of a D minor scale. So when I look at the notes on the page, or if I just look at someone's hand play it, I don't see 6 different notes. I don't see 6 things. I see one thing. Oh, that's most of a D minor scale. It starts on A, it goes down to C sharp, and then it ends on D. So that helps me learn. In something like Kabalevsky's Fairy Tale, this opening melody, is just one giant E-flat major scale down and up again. If I recognize that and I already know which subset of notes makes up an E-flat major scale, E-flat, F, G, A-flat, B-flat, C, and D, I've already recognized the pattern. I can learn much more easily. If I know Handel's Courante, I see that opening, I see someone play it, or I see the notation. I don't even have to think about it. That's an F major scale. I've already played that before. So all this whole world of music is open to me because I understand patterns. That's why we learn scales and arpeggios. Scales are the ones that move by small intervals. Next time we'll talk about arpeggios, which move by larger intervals called skips or leaps. In the meantime, learn your scales.